Jalen, we appreciate you making some time for us this morning, man. There are so many different games, so many different moments that people can point to this past year. But I want to go to the Kentucky game. On the road in Lexington, you guys start out so hot, and then Kentucky kind of picks up and catches fire a little bit. You get poked in the eye with a couple seconds left after an offensive rebound. You sink 2 free throws. What do you remember about that Kentucky game, the first win for the Arkansas Razorbacks since 2014?
Well, truthfully, just the environment, man. You know, with COVID season, it wasn't an entirely sold-out crowd, but I know it was one of those games we were looking to that we would know they would have, you know, some of the higher capacity of the teams we played, and then also just the feel of the moment. You know what I mean? We knew about, you know, the fact that we hadn't won a game in Ruppert so long and just how hard it was. So just, you know, the feel, the nerves, you know, the rumblings going just up to the game, and then being a part of that game and being able to have a big part in winning that game was just, you know, a great way to, you know, cap off a great year for me at Arkansas. You know, it wasn't towards the end of the season or anything, but it's definitely something great to look back on when you think about everything that we were able to accomplish this year.
Yeah, and you had a great quote just talking about what you did. And Jalen, like, if we just go back and look at what the season accomplished as a whole, it was getting to that Elite Eight. That's what people remember. And you really had your best game of the season against Oral Roberts. You took Abness to the hole several times, and they couldn't stop you. But you made the unselfish play at the end, passing to your teammate Devo Davis. When you passed him that ball after taking it to the hole, what do you remember about that moment? And did you think that shot was going in when Devo let it go?
Nah, I knew I was going in as soon as he let it go, really. You know, he made the right read. His man ducked all the way in, you know, came over completely full body help. So I dropped it off to him, and I knew it was a shot he could make because I had seen him work on that shot time and time again. So just having faith in my teammates, knowing that no moment would be too big for Devo in that moment, and just really having the faith in him to knock it down.
Jalen, you mentioned playing through COVID and the crowds and just the differences in last year, and then obviously that led up to the bubble environment in Indianapolis. What were the biggest challenges as a team and for you individually last year, just having to play under the circumstances that everyone had to deal with last year?
Well, you know, getting up early every day and just having to get COVID tested, you know, on these certain days during the week, having to fit in small windows, you know, between workouts or practice and, you know, just the symptom screening, remembering to stay on that with the training staff and, you know, just all the different travel regulations. You know, 1 week we're in here and everybody's in different rooms. Like, everybody has their own room. We can't spend as much time with our teammates in the bubble, you know, and just, you know, certain things that made it unfortunate, but, you know, things you had to work through to be able to get to where we wanted to get to, as far as being able to want to play the right, you know, the right precautions and everything that we were able to do to, you know, stay healthy. I don't think the COVID thing really affected us as heavily as other teams because we were able to do things the way we did it last year when it came to just the regulations and everything like that.
We were looking at some of your season stats just before we were having this conversation with you this morning. You started all 32 games, played about 30 minutes on average in each game. You had more fouls than anybody on the team, and we were talking about that. And you fouled out more than anybody, but that was generally because you always drew the toughest defensive assignment. You had the trust from Eric Musselman, who values defense more than anybody, that you were always going to guard the other team's toughest player to defend. Walk us through that and that responsibility that you had to generally guard the toughest player from your opponent.
I mean, truthfully, I was one of the more experienced players on our team. I had multiple defensive, you know, all defensive teams, a defensive player of the year. So I think when it came to that, you know, early on in the season, I felt like it was my obligation to step up and be that player for us, you know. And, you know, I care about winning games and doing whatever it takes for my team. So, you know, taking that pressure off all the other guys and really stepping up and being the one to be like, okay, yeah, like, I'm going to take on this challenge night in and night out and do whatever it takes to slow that guy down, whether it be, you know, working on the foul things, but just giving out those extra efforts and being able to, lock into my scouts and win my matchups most nights rather than not.
Jalen Tate with us here on the Morning Rush. Jalen, you're now a part of Beyond Athlete Management. Another guy that is former Texas Tech guard, Mac McClellan. Do you remind Mac every once in a while what happened in that round of 32 game?
We talked about it a little bit when we were back in Chicago for the pro day, man. He was just, he had a few good things to say about our defense as I did about theirs. And, we compared different styles and different teams that we played throughout the season. So try not to give him too much of a hard time about it now. But, if it ever comes back up, I'll be sure to.
You always got that card to play, don't you?
Definitely always got that card.
Jalen, one of the things that you mentioned in your post-game presser following the loss to Baylor is the standard that you guys set. And there was a video I'm sure you saw of Eric Musselman, Coach Muss, talking about there's going to be more pressure on the guys this season because of what you guys did last year. What kind of expectations do you have for your former teammates, Jalen, Devo, JD, and others this upcoming year and heading into next season's postseason?
I mean, and just to start, there's nothing wrong with pressure, man. Pressure makes diamonds. I think we started out last year, we didn't have too much pressure on us, but once you start winning those games, you start rolling things up, you start winning those games in a row, you create that target on your back. I think, the guys that are returning, they've seen that pressure at the highest level, you know what I mean, at this point, at this far. So those guys come to work every single day, and when you come in like that and trust your work and trust your teammates, trust that the coaches have a scouting report ready for you or a game plan going into every single game, it makes it a lot easier. It takes a lot of the pressure off of you. So I definitely expect all those guys to take the next step, guys that didn't start until maybe the end of the year, they'll have to come in and be leaders right away this year. JD came off the bench. I expect him to start and, put up great numbers as he did last year, both scoring and, playmaking for others. Jalen Williams is going to be an excellent defender along with Devo Davis. They're going to, talk probably more than anybody in the entire country, really. And just, man, I think they'll get after guys this year. I have high expectations for this Arkansas team.
Jalen, it sounds like that you're already planning a return trip to Bud Walton. Now, you came here as a former Northern Kentucky guy. It wasn't full. You played here last year. It wasn't full because of COVID. When are you coming back to Bud Walton Arena? You do get Kentucky at home this year. Are you circling your calendar, assuming you don't have a game upcoming, to make a trip back to Bud Walton Arena?
I'm most definitely trying to do whatever I can to finally see it, feel it out in there, man, the environment that I was never able to see, the atmosphere. But, I do thank the fans that did come, with the COVID regulations. I know we couldn't feel it all the way out, but towards the end of the year there, it felt like we were getting close, even though we might not have been. But they made it loud. They made it hard for other teams every single night and just really came to show, man, every single time. And I can't thank them enough for that.
Jalen, give us a player's perspective. We're still all trying to learn, what Eric Musselman's really all about, what makes him tick. From a player's perspective that's now come out the other side of the program, give us your takes and your perspective about what makes his process so special and what's going to take this from where it's been to the Elite Eight and possibly beyond.
Truly his passion for the game, as the leader of the program. And his work ethic, he'll teach you how to work. He'll be on you to work every single day. So that alone, truthfully, just pushes you. You don't want him to have to call you on any day of the week and be like, you didn't get your work in today. You know what I mean? Or, you didn't get your extra work in even, or you didn't have a great practice. It's just stuff like that. And you could hold him accountable as well as a player, like, Coach, where your energy was at today? You know what I mean? So just I feel like that player to player, player to coach, accountability, those avenues really will keep the program moving in the right direction, in my opinion. And then truthfully, just his will, man, and just, you see him put out all that energy, into the crowd, whether it be the referees and into just the players in the huddles, you know what I mean, every single night. Just where his will to win, so it reflects that on you as a player. You know what I mean? I think you saw that a lot in this year's teams. Like, we started out down a lot of the time, but we always had stronger will, I think, and was able to, make a lot of those comebacks and do some of the things we were able to do.
What were his hardest demands to meet as a player? What were the biggest challenges for you to meet and satisfy him as a player?
I mean, truthfully, his demands weren't too crazy at all. He just wants you to come in every single day and want to get better. And, that's all you can ask for as a player. Like, a coach he's not going to ask you to do anything that he's not going to do. You know what I mean? Or that he can't do. Because you see him, as soon as you walk in, I have the earliest weight group. Or, guys like Devo like to come in at 6, 7 a.m. He's there. He's still there. You know what I mean? So, or we like to go in late at night some weekends. He's usually there. So, it makes it really easy.
A few more questions with Jalen Tate, former Razorback, here on the Morning Rush. Jalen, this name and likeness stuff, it's kind of made waves. There's already been some Arkansas players that have picked up some endorsements. As a guy that's looking at this, seeing some of his former teammates get involved, just kind of what is your just thoughts on what's kind of happened in the past month or so?
I think it's huge for players to be able to now be able to use their name, image, and likeness. Be able to get some payment for that. But I feel these players need to have caution. Talk to people that really do know what they're talking about. Maybe, a family friend that's, maybe an agent, or, listen to different things before you just take action, as far as what is complete of. There's certain things like taxes. There's certain things like, people trying to get the wrong things out of you, try to take advantage of you. So you don't want any of that. But I think it's definitely great for the players, and I think it's long overdue. Now you want to start seeing things like, maybe Reggie Bush's Heisman being looked at again, or, some of the last 5 years where they were able to go to the Final Four and national championship, where those things are now, banners taken down. But, you at least got to review them now that you're using name, image, and likeness. So I think I look at both sides of the spectrum, both current players and past players.
There's got to be part of you that feels like, man, I was just born a year or two too early, right? Like I just missed my window, right?
Too early. Nah, definitely.
Jalen, we've been talking about a lot of fun memories this morning. We appreciate your time. One more before we let you go. We had Dusty Hannis on about a year or so ago, and I don't know if you saw that clip of him trash talking to Ben Simmons at the free throw line, and we asked him, it was like, Dusty, what did you say to the guy? And he's like, well, I just was joking in an Australian accent, talking about putting some shrimp on the bobby. Jalen, what did you say to John Petty to get him ejected from that game? Because he just was not having it that night. And that was one of the funniest, better memories of the season, when you just ticked him off and he couldn't handle it anymore.
It's crazy. So me and John Petty go actually back pretty far. So, like, whenever we talked during the game, I don't think it was necessarily malicious, just because, you don't want to take the guy over the edge the other side, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, he's out there giving you 40. But it was just like petty remarks, like, about the referees. It's like, dude, he literally admitted to fouling me, like trying to foul me, I think the player two before. And he was like, the ref ain't calling that, but they'll call anything else. And, I think we were joking about that. And then that's when he felt like they had missed a pretty big call on him. And he had said something reckless. I'm like, dang, ref, you gonna let him talk to you like that? And, it was something around those lines that really got the ref, I think, a little bit more riled up, and then led to him getting thrown out. So it was like, you don't ever want to see any other player get taken out the game, but it was just like something as small as that could take, you know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't work, but it could potentially shift the balance, how everything went at the end of the game. So just something minor, honestly. It wasn't even anything major. I didn't say anything to him directly, but we were joking around about that. It was just funny that the refs reacted so hastily.
Jalen, we good stuff this morning, like you had good stuff this past season. Best of luck to you in your future endeavors. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again at some professional level next time, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff from Jalen Tate.